there's more institutions going into Bitcoin. So I'm putting a little bit more money into technologies that help the blockchain, that help Bitcoin. So there, I'm gonna remember 2020 as the year I became a little bit more aggressive.
Most memorable is Moderna. You guys know this story. I cannot, for Rex Mendoza, there are no secrets. I share them with friends, right? I guess it's looking back and I'm asking the question, how come no one or not a lot of people saw that? We're in a pandemic. Who's going to do well? It's a company that's looking for a solution. And it's a company that might get into a solution faster than anyone else.
I bought a property. So at a huge discount. I was happy. I always thought naman at the time na, you buy a house that you can afford 3 times, 4 times, 5 times over. So you don't overbuy and commit too much cash to one asset that will not work for you over time. And so we had more cash to invest in the market.
Even the younger guys like Marvin, right? It's almost like a shock to see Ayala Land at 19. In 2008, it was 5 pesos. I saw that at 5 pesos. So it's not something of a shock anymore. You know that it's still 4 times what it was in one of the worst crises ever, 2008.
Ang dami ko nakitang information, articles online that said worst crisis in 100 years. So when I saw the market drop to 4,000, I said, this is the only time in the next 100 years where you can buy great companies at these prices. So of course, I've been saying publicly that I'm a value investor. That's really the time when you buy. I was just so happy that I had the cash to do it. Kasi kung ipit ka at the time, naku, patay, di ba? Sayang. But we're always naman teaching pati all the risk management tools that you have and make sure that when there's an opportunity, you can actually take it.
Before I go to my next question, I just recall a couple of things when Rex was saying this. Yung mga trading portfolio niya, yun yung mga 10 p.m. niya na text, tignan mo yung Tesla, ano nangyari sa Tesla ngayon? Yung mga ganung text in the middle of the night. And then, when he mentioned 1997 era, Salve was grade 1 at that time, if I remember.
Grade 1? Nag-i-interview na?
And now, speaking about cash, and I asked this kasi minsan kahit ako din, I tend to store cash more, pero in such a way that it's disproportionate na at the back of my mind, inisip ko, sayang pala, I should have used this kesa pero sa akin naman, I value the sanity na may buffer ako na ganitong cash na kahit anong mangyari, okay lang ako, at least may buffer ako kahit tulog siya and walang nangyayari sa kanya. I know I have this leeway for me. Sa inyo, on top of your businesses or investments, do you have like a set percentage or a threshold? Dapat hindi bababa yung cash ko for this particular investment portfolio. I should have this level of cash. Either as a hedge or something that you will use later on. Pag bumaba, yun yung gagamitin nyo.
Yeah, for me, it has always been 10%. And I'm so comfortable. I'm not afraid when the market goes down. Even if I lose 40%, I have no fear. And I don't know why. Is it because I've studied it? Is it because I trust my mentors? Kasi relatively still not that old in the stock market, but maybe by personality, I'm just like that. And but 10% for me is fine. Now, should I increase it? Probably. As I learn more how to be a more active investor, I'll probably increase that.
Ang dami kasing cash ni Rex eh.
Oo. Yan ang problema niya. Masyadong marami.
Nag-open na Excel file.
For me, it's very different, no. I guess we all know that we have to have that 10% set aside. But again, because again of my age and because of the long years that I've been building this up, 10% is a huge sum. It's already, if you're going to be looking at that portfolio, 10% is a huge sum. So I was sharing this with Brother Bo. I'm saying the real cash that should be in, like, let's say, an ATM account or a money market fund or a real, convenience account that I can easily draw from. Maybe that's just 6 to 9 times monthly salary or 6 to 9 times monthly expense. On top of that, I now still come up with what I call a dynamic fixed income portfolio. So I put a REIT there. I put some bond funds in there. Again, the Soldivo bond fund did 7.5% net of tax for the year. So it's really not sleeping, although I consider that to be cash because it can easily be withdrawn. And then I even polish that a little bit. When the market is high, I don't stop at 10%. I create cash to as much as 20% when the market is high. I don't know, Brother Bo, you remember, we were in Bacolod. The market was an all-time high, if you remember. And I was telling you guys, I was at the back of the van, I was selling. I was creating cash, right? Because you don't know when the prices are going to be better. At that time, it's not supposed to be a buy. So I create cash. So it can be 20%. And see, Brother Bo knows this. My wife handles fixed income. So when the markets are good, she gets to have a huge stash for that dynamic fixed income base. But when the market goes bad, like this year, she almost doesn't have any money. I take it out of her. We can get it to that 6 to 9 times monthly expense or salary because it's the time to say risk on, right? So see, for me, so now we're saying cash can be 5 to as high as 20% depending on the situation. But then it's not sleeping cash. I don't keep this all in a checking account or in an ATM account. A huge part of that is still going to work hard for returns.
I envy you that your wife owns a dynamic strategic fund. Ako, my wife owns everything, controls everything. So I hope she watches this video. But
your wife owns your heart, no? Me naman, I'm different because I have very young children. And I'm now an entrepreneur, not a salaried individual like before. It's my husband who earns the regular income and he has his own portfolio. So I shifted to make sure that I have now 12 months worth of income in cash because I cannot subject my small children to so much risk, diba? And I pay tuition for 3 of them. So I just gotta make sure that I can pay that and everything else. But the problem of a value investor really is how to deploy the cash because we always look for discounts. And when the markets are good, it's so hard to look for discounts. So laging ang problema is I have too much cash. I need to find something to buy. And it was fun that was the situation early this year. Kasi medyo picky. It takes me a lot of time to really decide to get something. I have to study all the annual reports. Grabe. Ang tagal kong kinukulit si Rex dati nitong, paano ba to? Ano ba ibig sabihin ng notes to financial statements? Alin ba dito yung focusan ko? So, as you know, I keep saying na si Rex talaga yung source ng knowledge kasi Second World War pa lang ginagawa niya.
My kids can't believe this, Salve. No? Sometimes I share it with them. Salve Duplito is a student of mine.
Yeah, super.
I wouldn't want to share that very openly because it kind of ages me, but it's true.
Ibale, si Edward Lee nga natawag kong YouTube lolo on AIDS. Pero hindi siya nagalit. Ayun, so in terms of cash, for me, it's a risk management tool to be able to set aside something that will make sure that you're okay whether the market is up or down. And I believe that all the investors, whether you're short-term, long-term, should have that kind of stash so that you're not afraid of what's going to happen.
I'm curious on this. Anyone can answer this, but you all mentioned about finances for couples, for married. how do you handle your finances as a couple? Kasi I've seen so many people argue about it. Magkakahiwalay sila ng account, hindi nag-share ng sweldo. Any tips or suggestions for that? Kasi I'm sure you're getting a lot of questions about that also, but I think this is also a good avenue to help people with that, to share your perspectives also.
It's as simple as this. We put it aside because Anna is the conservative one. She can handle fixed income really better. So the boring part, she's very good at that. The more exciting part, I know I'm a risk taker. I've always done it my entire life. So I handle that part. But if you say, we segregate accounts, there's no segregation. Quite frankly, these are all pooled. It's our money. We're very old-fashioned. We just have, Rex and Anna Mendoza. I mean, I don't have money on my own. She doesn't have money on my own, although all of my money is hers. I think all of us can agree with that. But I guess it's the meeting of the minds between two people. It's a matter of trust. And I guess the good part about this is that from the time we were struggling to the point where we were, we can consider ourselves a bit luxurious right now. There was no disparity in terms of beliefs. There was no disagreement at any point in time. We always discuss things together. So problem of money never really got into a relationship. I mean, for us, it's always been a partnership. And I guess I'm lucky that I have a wife who actually is a real partner. I can consider her to be a real 100% partner. No disagreements whatsoever.
I have the same answer because, there's just where our funds are pooled. And although, we have our little, how do you call that? Wallets that allowances. And, but aside from that, everything is pooled. At the end of the day, it's really all about communication. Meeting of minds, as Rex is saying. You just have to keep on talking. And that's what we did. We just kept on talking and talking about our money, our finances. And when that is agreed upon, there will be a lot of unity in the issue.
Before I go to Salve, ganun din kami. We have allowances. Pero my wife has a lifestyle allowance that on top of her normal allowance that she gets for her to buy stuff. Pero yung masakit doon, pag magkasama kami, ako pa rin nagbabayad galing sa allowance ko. So parang, I don't know if there's fairness in that, but anyways,
your wife is a very good money manager.
Yes.
I totally
leverage.
Siyempre, ganun talaga. Kasi gentleman ka eh. Alam nga naman pagbayarin mo siya.
Oo nga.
Pagkakain kayo sa Ipudo. Or with what's that, the Japanese place that you like to go to. I'll be very frank, no? In the beginning, Dan and I really struggled. As you all know, or maybe some of you, I came from a very poor family. He was a bit more middle income. Pero kami talaga, I was born poor. So the financial values that we brought into the marriage were very different. So in the beginning, there was a time when there was so much stress, and he was the one handling the money, and I kept looking over his shoulder, parang backseat driver, and asking him what happened, ganyan. And then we finally decided to let go of the stress, and he said, from now on, we must agree never to fight about money. Fighting about money in a marriage is the source of so much tension. And I once interviewed a fiscal, and he said 7 out of 10 cases in court where the separation happened is because of financial problems. So ang laki-laki, lalo na in the Philippine setting where you have in-laws, you have siblings asking for money or borrowing, and secrets within the marriage really don't help. So the best decision that we made was to commit never to fight about money, and instead to talk about it like Rex and Brother Bo, and that I will handle the money. so from that time on, I handle the money. I report to him regularly, look at the portfolio, look at everything, and all the financial decisions are made in tandem, but there's transparency and you have to be responsible for all movements of funds. So it's a pooled fund, yes. It's pooled budget. There's no his budget. There's no my budget. It's all pooled.
Got it. Amazing. Now, I want to go and shift into your investments for the year. What's the most memorable investment that you had, that you did this year? It doesn't have to be in terms of gain or losses, but something that 10 years from now, yun yung kikwento nyo sa mga tao na hindi nyo makakalimutan from 2020.
I'm very, very conservative, but this year, I will remember 2020 as the year. Well, to be honest, I started already a little bit being more aggressive last year with Tesla. You know, the old Bo would never have gotten into Tesla. I'm so conservative. But anyway, it started with Tesla last year, and then this year started putting more, and then going into the new technologies, whether it be CRISPR therapeutics or what are the other ones? Even Bitcoin, would you believe? For years, when somebody asks me, what do you think of Bitcoin? I will tell them, naku, ilagay mo yung whatever you want to, any amount you're ready to lose, ilagay mo lang dyan, yun lagi yung advice ko. But now I'm reading, I'm seeing that, there's more institutions going into Bitcoin. So I'm putting a little bit more money into technologies that help the blockchain, that help Bitcoin. So there, I'm gonna remember 2020 as the year I became a little bit more aggressive.
Most memorable is Moderna. You guys know this story. I cannot, for Rex Mendoza, there are no secrets. I share them with friends, right? So March happens, we know we're in a lockdown. And isn't it so obvious that we have to go for these biotech firms? It's so obvious. So I looked at who are in the game. I looked at who are going to be the front runners. I researched as to what they're doing and what the companies are all about, who's managing them, what's their strategy for the vaccine. So at first, I put money in about 2 or 3. And then later on, I gravitated towards Moderna because I felt it's really going to be doing better. Again, Marvin, your question, it's not really the gain. I know that I did very well on it, but I guess it's looking back and I'm asking the question, how come no one or not a lot of people saw that? We're in a pandemic. Who's going to do well? It's a company that's looking for a solution. And it's a company that might get into a solution faster than anyone else. So it's almost so logical. There's no subjectivity to it. But people just didn't have maybe the wherewithal to get to this. But somehow I have the foreign accounts and the foreign brokers. So I got into it and I just accumulated it. And you can just imagine what happened now. I mean, again, you can call it a 5-bagger, a 6-bagger. I mean, it's all history. But then, it's as simple as that. It's what's going to happen. I mean, you're going to be looking for a solution, right? And these are the companies that are going to be forging a solution.
Got it. So, Merry Christmas to you. Siguro that's a Merry Christmas for 5 years already. Salve.
I bought a property. So, at a huge discount. At the big, siguro mga a couple of weeks ago. And when we bought this house, by the way, I was able to buy this house because of Rex tips many years ago. I kept setting aside money so I was able to buy a house. When we bought this house, we only had, I think, 2 children. Ngayon, 4 na yung anak ko, tapos malalaki na sila. Ang liit na ng bahay. Akala ko dati malaki. And when they were dancing, I realized, ang liit pala ng bahay natin. But I was happy. I always thought naman at that time na, you buy a house that you can afford 3 times, 4 times, 5 times over. So you don't overbuy and commit too much cash to one asset that will not work for you over time. And so we had more cash to invest in the market. But this time, I thought maybe it's time to get another one. And I think I will never forget this this purchase. Because I'm also ultra conservative. And buying a property is a big decision. I hope I got it at a discount that I'll be happy with in the next years.
Got it.
Happy for you, Salve.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And ano yan,
Congrats.
pwedeng bakuran yung property. Anyways, I wanna ask this.
Nothing is market related. I mean, we will just continue doing what we've been doing, the strategies that we have forged over the years, the asset allocation, the value, all of that stuff. And no matter what's happening, again, it's putting on the money every month, making sure that you're creating that base. So, crisis or no crisis, recovery or a plunge, I mean,
Dapat yung stock na yon, dapat ramp ano yon, portfolio. Dapat yung Rex Mendoza portfolio, yun papayag ako kahit 7.5 million nga lang.